Welcome back to Coriander Society Adventures. I'm your host and game master, tormented by gnomes. Joining me is my talented cast consisting of Beatdown Boulevard, Ninja Man Matt, and Pods of War. How's everyone doing today?
Behold, an act.
Oh,
Are you serious? That was a trick question.
All right.
Right out the gate. I love it.
Thank you to our supporters on the new Casters and Castles coffee channel who have already got us out the gate with a couple of acts of God. Starting off, all of you gain inspiration.
Hey!
Okay.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you.
Anyways, apologies. I cut you off rudely in the middle of that beatdown. How's it going today?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I've read Words of Radiance for the third time. I still cried at the end. It's great. How are you?
Oh.
Good. I have 11 cats now.
What happened to 4?
5 of them live here. The other 6 are all fosters. It's just rescue, so they're not permanent residents. We're basically operating a cat rescue like house. Our house is also a cat rescue. So large numbers are to be expected. They are not permanent. They are not all of our pets. They're just, living here.
Have I ever mentioned how cool I think that is?
I think it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Matt, how's things?
I'm so worried because I think you're going to cut me off with "Behold, act of God."
Yeah, right.
But you didn't, so glorious.
Exactly. That'd be rude.
No, I'm doing well. We're still getting the house repaired from that storm a number of weeks ago, and water damage and checking for asbestos and all the good stuff that goes with it. But other than that, things are going well.
Real life comes at you fast.
Oh, and every spare moment I have when I'm not working or hanging out with my family or my daughter, I'm working on this little project, Curse of Tamrian, community games, Casters and Castles, no big deal or anything. It just, encompasses my entire being.
Okay.
It's
in a good way. In
yeah.
a good way.
Yeah. We did an announcement on that. I should add a chat command for Curse of Tamrian at some point. Anyways, super excited for that. Pods, how are things?
I'm good. I've been playing a lot of Eco. I realized I haven't told the chat this, but I've been playing as Asena in Eco. So for the next month or so, if you go to the Twitch Eco directory and see a lot of role play going on, you might see me running around. It's been a lot of fun, but rip sleep.
Never heard of her.
Couldn't be me. Well, when we last left the heroes of 1-2 Punch, they had left the world of Northport behind and traveled to the fantastic realm of Pyrespace, a series of planets floating around a giant ball of elemental fire, the Pyre. And on one such world, they began their journey, the forest world of Perchance, where the elven courts no longer do battle against each other with spell and sword, but instead wage wars of intrigue, gossip, rumor, and conspiracy. And into this hotbed of intrigue, they have fallen in with the court of Indogalad Fluris, a friend of John's. For John has traveled through this realm before. Most pertinent to our heroes, it was within the spheres of Pyrespace that John first met Haura, who runs Opal Donahue's Institute for Magically Gifted Youngsters in Northport. From when they first met Haura, our heroes knew there was something powerful, something dangerous, an electric air around her. She commanded respect. She moved with the grace and presence of a terrible apex predator. And in the course of their journeys, they discovered the reason. Haura is not human. Haura is a dragon. The magical power that courses through her, the power of sorcery, is not simply from a dragon's blood, it is from being a dragon. But they've never seen her take a dragon's shape. They've always seen her in human guise. And it seems that she had a past history with John, formerly very, very close friends who went on dangerous adventures through the world of Pyrespace, the sci-fi blasted wastelands of Lacunas, and all sorts of escapades in the city of Northport. But they had a falling out some time ago. Ever since then, John had slipped a little bit further and further as he traced the trail of the Angel Killer, until his life was revitalized when he met Gastone and Asena, discovered a new clue, finally tracked down who was responsible, and made new friends, a new family for the first time in a long time. Our heroes have worked with Haura, they've traveled with Haura, and Haura's help was absolutely essential to save the life of Florence Giotto, the daughter of the most notorious crime lord in Northport. She was born with a magical gift that was causing her to waste away into shadow, and it was through Haura's knowledge and ideas that our heroes travel to the sci-fi world of Lacunas to retrieve shadow armor technology they can use to stabilize Florence to give her a true life. But in exchange for her help and expertise, Haura had a price. She exacted a promise from John that when they were done, he would travel with her to her homeworld of Ashen, here in Pyrespace, to deal with some unconcluded business from her past. The arc of our current story is our heroes making good on this promise. They've returned with Haura and John to the world of Pyrespace. They've met with the Elven court of Fluris. They've retrieved help is on the way to take them to the desert world of Ashen. But when they arrived in this world, a terrible curse that befell John the last time he was here, the curse of the Night Twist, redoubled in its strength. And now it is threatening to burst forth from his mind, kill him, and give rise to an evil, accursed tree that will be born from his corpse if this curse is not stopped. Furthermore, John's assistant back in Northport, Charlie, is similarly afflicted. John just got back from Northport with King Indogalad. They retrieved Charlie from a dangerous predicament and brought him back. Gathered and surrounded by friends, including the elven dream wizard Medwethyn, a close ally, companion, and perhaps more of John Carmichael's. They've devised a plan to extract the curse of the Night Twist, but it requires the spark of divinity, what separates gods from mortals. So while our heroes are in this world, not only must they travel to the Well of Wisdom, a secret shrine guarded by Nagas on the world of Ashen, they must also find a way to subdue a godling so that they can extract this divine spark to save John. When they asked Haura why this shrine was so important to her in our last episode, Haura revealed that when she was still a dragon flying over the world of Ashen, she met John and some other traveling companions, including the dream wizard Medwethyn. And as she was a dragon patrolling her territory, she attacked them and their ship. She lost, defeated by John's magic and the help of his companions. But instead of killing the dragon, John and Medwethyn wove together new memories for her, transforming her into someone who thought she was the human sorceress, Haura. Gastone and Asena don't know how Haura retrieved her memories and remembered that she's not a human, she's a dragon, the dragon Acoficinian. They don't know when these memories returned to her, but they know that the entire incident haunts her to this day. She lives in fear of those old memories of being a dragon, divided between who she is now and who she used to be. Her desire to return to this shrine protected by the Nagas seems to be rooted in a determination to face a foe from her old life who used to terrify her and defeat that foe to start a new chapter in her life. But the Well of Wisdom that the Nagas guard is an ancient source of magic of the ancient civilization that once existed here on the desert planet of Ashen, called the Well of Wisdom, and it has the power to reveal a person's true nature. Perhaps there is more to this quest than meets the eye. When we finally leave this long intro exposition and join our heroes, John has left the room. The air got heated. Haura's distress, her trauma over the circumstances of her birth, if you will. John realized that she needed space, she deserved space, and he left, letting her tell her story to Gastone and Asena on her own terms. She has just revealed to them that she doesn't think she's real. Haura, this personality, she does not believe is real. We now join our heroes in the treetops as night has descended over the city of Fluris in this luxurious elven suite moments after this revelation. Gastone and Asena are in the room with Haura. Silence fills the air as she reveals that she doesn't believe she is real. What do you do?
Well, I don't understand. You can't be real. You're right in front of us.
I'm immediately gonna reach and try and touch her arm, be like, "Hey, you seem pretty real."
Roll a persuasion check, Gastone.
Where is? Here we go.
All right. Total of 17. Regardless of how much she believes the words that you've spoken, it seems to at least bring her some comfort. She pulls herself back together, recomposing that strong, dangerous teacher that you know, who looks after magically gifted youngsters and all their wild adolescence and their dangerous powers. She takes a few deep breaths. The hair on your arms and the back of your neck twitches as static electricity rises and falls with each beat of her heart. Any dragon can do this. She looks at her hand, completely bereft of claws. But I am walking around with 2 sets of memories. And it doesn't make sense.
That's why you want to go to the well.
Yeah, it is. For a lot of reasons. I need to settle that stage of my life. I need to prove that if Akaficinian couldn't defeat them, but Haura can, maybe that means Haura deserves to exist.
Well, as always, you have a really strange way of validating yourself.
Dragons.
I think you do enough work to, quote unquote, deserve to exist. Whether or not you agree with it. I'm not a philosopher. It's not my area, but you're right in front of us.
The Darastrix respect strength.
What do you respect?
Roll an insight check, Asena, please.
Seven.
10. Okay. Oh, a 7.
7.
Why is Asena having trouble reading Haura right now?
Asena doesn't know what's so bad about being 2 people in one. He might even ask her, why can't you be both? Why does it have to be one or the other?
Because they're very different. Dragons respect strength. Blue dragons of Ashen respect strength. Defend your territory. You take it from those who are weaker than you. You make them subordinate to you. You went to Lacunas with me. You saw what my ancestors did when they arrived in a world full of humans. A Munthrek exists to enrich us and to serve us and to feed us. That's what those dragons believe. And if I'm going to reconcile that, I have to start from a position of strength.
I think strength comes in a lot of forms.
A small smile returns to Haura's face. Having powerful, loyal allies is a kind of strength.
I hope you find some.
She smiles. She smiles at that.
Yeah, we're gonna go back with you, and we're gonna we're still gonna help you on this. I mean, we promised that we would.
I value that.
And then we beat him, and then you're strong. And then we can figure it out.
Yes. And at the end of it, I promised John a clean slate. That's part of our deal. I don't know what it's going to cost us, both of us. But you're keeping your word to me, and I'm going to keep my word to him.
I kind of just thought that meant you were like not going to be angry about it anymore.
That's what I want. But it's not as simple as just choosing that. I think that's what we both want. But there's always a price to get there. If you just act like the past never happened and the choices that you made were never made, that's not peace. That's just slapping a bandage over an infected wound and waiting for it to kill you. Both. It has to be cleaned out. Sometimes that involves a lot of pain. We should rest. Our ship arrives tomorrow. I don't know if I have the energy to deal with the pilgrims again.
What's wrong with them?
She looks over at Asena, looks at Gastone. I think you're going to like them.
Like the pilgrims?
Yes.
Are we going to kill them?
No.
Okay.
They're going to take us to Ashen,
Oh,
to my home.
where the big battle's going to happen.
Mm. Yeah.
Anything we should know about these pilgrims?
There's a lot of them. Nobody will judge you if you don't remember all of their names.
Oh, that was going to be my next question.
The captain, Dominica, just respect her.
That's hard.
I understand. Trust me. A slight draconic growl in the back of her throat as she says that. She gets up, drained, visibly drained. You can see that when you've really had it out with somebody, and your whole body, it doesn't hurt, but it's just heavy. Gravity drags harder on you. The fire is gone. The moment of pain has passed, but you're just heavy and slow. And I don't know that you've seen Haura like this before. As she rises, gives the two of you a nod, and makes to withdraw to her own chambers.
Asena will think about like reaching out to her, but she just keeps to herself.
Gastone?
Yeah, Stone is just gonna go to sleep.
Okay. We pass now from one to the other over each of our heroes as they make themselves comfortable in the light, natural, open-air bowers of the elves of Perchance. Sweet, fresh forest, cool night air wafts between the branches of your rooms. You can hear leaves rustling gently, water flowing from the springs that feed the water supply in each of your beautifully appointed open floor plan rooms. Moonlight trickles in, broken by the trees, not enough to really wake you up, just a little bit, just so you can barely see at night. And first, the camera falls upon Gastone in his room. Is he fast asleep? Is he lost in thought? Is he tinkering with his devices? How do we find him?
Oh, he's probably tinkering with the bits of a I think it was a Zorbot that John brought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he'd be looking and examining that, seeing what he can do with it.
Roll a science check.
Baby. Oh, wrong tab. There we go. Ah!
That is a natural 1. You've got brain power boost from Chad if you'd like to spend it.
You know what? I think I would very much like that.
Okay, give it another shot.
Oh,
Dude,
oh,
I saw
oh.
that. It was roll.
I saw that too.
Okay, a 20.
Yeah.
Our intrepid tinkerer discovers almost the hard way that this is an atomic ray. What gets melted, destroyed, or lit on fire in the process? Since you got that natural 1.
Wait, say that again.
I said you rolled a natural 1, which you then saved with inspiration, meaning that when you started this process, it was not going well. The way you discovered this was an atomic ray was because the atomic ray went off.
Yeah.
But the consequences are not too dire because you quickly managed to realize what it was and solve the situation. But what got melted, lit on fire, disintegrated, atomized in the process? Doesn't have to be, it could be something you own, it could be something in the room, it could be a piece of scene dressing, whatever you'd like.
The front of my bed.
Okay, the front of your bed has been destroyed by an atomic ray fired from a piece of a Zorbot that was harvested. Let me just go ahead and pull up the atomic ray if I can. Now we'll do a damage roll so you can see what you just missed out on.
Oh!
What?
Well, that's a natural 20.
Oh.
So let's say most of your bed. And you have to put out a fire immediately afterwards. On this natural 20, it inflicted 28 points of fire damage and 7 points of radiation.
Jesus.
What is radiation?
No idea. Probably radiant. Maybe
Sounds
poison.
like it.
I haven't really decided.
Some combination of the two.
But yeah,
Interesting.
under normal circumstances, the atomic ray does 3d8 fire and 1d8 radiation damage. Now, obviously, you'll need to plug it into a power supply. It doesn't have its own power supply because it's normally attached to a Zorbot. And it's fairly clunky. But so right now, if you just repurposed it, it would be like almost a backpack weapon, or at least a 2-part weapon. But you have the technology, you can always miniaturize it, improve on it, etc. So you've spent the evening before you go to sleep, you've analyzed it, you know what it is, you know what its capabilities are. Now in the future, you can use either your class features or your Tinker's tools to turn it into something a little more usable.
Interesting.
And you can have
I like
one
that.
improvised gadget at a time do your class, correct?
That's correct.
If you want, you can use your improvised gadget slot to make this thing functional. It can't be functional, like if you decide to do a different improvised gadget, then it goes back into being, it's just parts that have been removed improperly. But you can improvise it into functionality and use it until you've fixed it properly. Make sense?
Okay. Yes. I would like to use my slot to do exactly that.
Okay, so before you go to bed, you're rigging this thing up. It's still clunky, but it works. And you can add that weapon. You attack, because it's an invention, it's an attack, you're proficient with it. You attack with your intelligence, and it deals, like I said, 3d8 fire, 1d8 radiation. While we're moving through Asena and John, feel free to add that to your character sheet.
How would I? Oh, okay. I think I know how. to
Yeah,
do it.
under your attacks on your character sheet, you're going to add it as a new attack.
And I'll call it
That's
ray
so
gun.
cool.
It's an atomic ray.
Atomic ray.
All right.
Said...
While you're working
Why-
on that, we next find Asena in her room. Again, nice open floor plan. You can hear animal noises outside, faint music wafting in. How does Asena find the night?
She's not doing much. She's kind of just like huddled in the corner of a room. Not really tired, so she's just sort of propped up in the corner, sitting against the wall,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, not thinking.
sort of staring into space.
Yeah.
A lot on or off her mind.
Yeah.
All right.
It's both loud and nothing.
Relatable. Do we then drift over to John, or is there anything else that we discover while the audience looks in on this brief moment in Asena's life?
No, I think that's it.
All right. We pass now over to John Carmichael, who left some time ago. He knew what direction the conversation was heading. His own private chamber. A ray of moonlight just happening to break exactly through the canopy above, onto his bed, onto his face. How do we find John Carmichael?
John is laying down in the bed, just fully clothed. No covers drawn, the bed's still made. And he's just sitting there curled up with Chester. Chester's like kind of in the nook of his arm, chest, torso area. And he just kind of is just scritching and petting his head as he looks up. And as he stares up into the moon, he had previously conjured the image of a woman. And there is a fair, but not particularly beautiful, just a pleasant looking young woman who is not so much dancing as just moving across his vision, separating him from the moon. And he's just humming a song to himself. And he's just kind of going through this motion of remembrance. He seems to be, if anyone were to walk in on him, he seems to be lost in thought, just staring up at the image of this woman and humming to himself while petting Chester. And he does that for hours before he finally drifts off to sleep.
In the end, sleep finds you all. You all gain the benefit of a long rest. You recover up to half your hit dice if you've expended any, all your hit points, your spells, your focus points, your class features, everything recharged, your health restored, and the morning perhaps shines a little bit brighter than it's filled with a bit more hope. You're able to, the attendants of the House of Fleuris bring each of you some fruit, some cheese, some nuts, some kind of a delicious, very, very light yogurt, a whole spread for your breakfast. Some dew water that's been freshly collected from the flowers of the meadow, some fruits, some nice tea, just a little spread that's left for you. And they don't, if you're still asleep, if you're sleeping late, they don't wake you up. So you're each able to take your time. There doesn't seem to be any rush this morning. Does anybody want to do anything before the party is reunited?
I just quickly want to ask, what did you say the damage numbers were for the atomic ray?
It attacks with your intelligence. You are proficient. It is 3d8 fire and 1d8 radiation. So that'd be the secondary damage that you add to your character sheet.
1d8 fire.
Oh, and the range is 400, 200. Or sorry, 4,200. 40/200. Not 4,200 feet. It's like, well, I guess the sniper rifles are relevant now.
It's really, wow, true. Where do I type the actual damage type? Do I just type that in the same place as 3d8?
No, 3d8 and the next field over ought to be the damage. Let me see if I can. Also, so it's 3d8 plus, that shouldn't say anything right there. It shouldn't say plus strength because you're being strong doesn't make you any better with this weapon. Make that as a flat 0 because your attack gets the intelligence modifier, but the damage isn't increased by your intelligence. And then the type is the next field down, and that's going to be fire. Then you're going to check off the damage 2 button to make sure that that damage actually gets deployed. Yeah, perfect. That all looks good.
Nice.
You got the range. I think everything's good. Go ahead and do a test fire once you've locked that down. All right. Well, I don't know that you would have hit, but you would have done a pile of damage.
Nice.
Yeah, 10 damage, and you would have hit like a commoner. You would have vaporized a citizen of Northport, if that's any consolation.
It isn't, but I'll take it.
All right. Did anybody have any business in the morning before you reconvene? Today, the pilgrims are supposed to arrive with a ship that is going to transport you to the world of Ashen.
Yeah, actually, John would have taken his court-ordered 6 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He spent 2 hours last night just kind of chilling to fill his required rest time, and then he gets up as early as a wizard needs to in order to head out, and he doesn't check in with his companions, although he does leave a less of a note, and he more so just makes sure to track down Mireth, and he lets her know that he's going to be heading into the marketplace, and he would like to request somebody who's a little more familiar with the area to kind of guide him around. He wants to make some purchases.
Of course.
If possible, he asks for Marikoth.
Roll
if
insight,
Marikoth
please.
is available.
Roll insight, please.
28.
Ah, Marikoth. I'm afraid Marikoth Afluris is not available.
Is he all right?
There has been an indiscretion on his part. Mirith makes sure that the two of you are alone in the room before she confides. The Duke, King Indogalad is suffering from an ailment. My lady, the Princess Adthea, may have already told you, good Sir Carmichael. And to assist with this ailment, it plagues his dreams, it plagues his nights, his trance, and he requires certain medicinal substances with which you are eminently familiar to trance peacefully. And up until recently, Marikoth Afluris was gracious enough to ensure he had a ready supply. Unfortunately, this supply was tainted. The king very nearly died.
And they suspect it was Marikoth?
It came from his supply. He has been held prisoner ever since.
Okay. Actually, change of plan. Is it possible for me to have an audience with Mr. Afluris?
Roll a persuasion check, please.
An 11.
An 11. And roll that with disadvantage, please.
Yes.
We have a backlog to work through.
We have an intense backlog. Here, let me go ahead and roll it again, and we'll just take the lower. Yeah, would have been real good. Let me just knock down one of those there.
John Carmichael, I'm well aware of your reputation for unraveling the threads of intrigue and uncovering the truth, and I respect your intentions, but with all due respect, is there time? You know the intention is for the Pilgrim's Progress to leave today. Your curse bears very little to brook with.
No, I understand that. It just is a little surprising that someone so close to his lordship, who had the only reasonably easy to obtain supply of this particular reagent that the king required, in a kingdom of shadow war, political intriguing elves, happened to have his supply tampered with, and he's been thrown apparently in jail.
Yes.
It just seems pretty obvious that someone set him up, and I'm just surprised that this is where he's ended up, at least as of now. Was this recent?
Oh, let me see how recent this was. I think it was a few months ago.
Months ago? And
Yes.
he's still being kept.
Yes, he is a branch descendant of the House of Flores. I can assure you he is not being kept in a dejected state.
No, but as you said, as a branch relative, he's not in line for the throne. What would he gain from poisoning the king?
1,000 possible little things. Perhaps the hand of blackmail is upon him to pressure him into doing this. Perhaps he's been promised a bribe. Perhaps he's been taunted with one of his vices.
And in respects, it's entirely possible there's a million other reasons, both in the contrary. He was set up either by blackmail or by any other.
Eminently
Exactly, it's
possible.
just-
This is the court of Flores. This is Perchance. Such
Mhm.
things happen. Again,
Which is my point.
would you unravel this web in a morning?
No, obviously not. I, again, was just looking to do some shopping. It's just, excuse me, I've been gone for over a year, and it's just a little, it's surprising to hear how much things have shaken up, and not necessarily for the good.
The ebb and flow of
Especially in
power on
regards to my friend.
Perchance is always shifting. I will administer whatever aid I can in this, John Carmichael. I am happy to do so. I have no doubt that you can uncover whatever the truth is, even if it lies beyond the twisted webs of Perchance. But getting there without using your talent for being places you're not supposed to belong would probably bite into the time that you want to spend supplying for your trip. When you return, I would gladly arrange such an audience. To do so now would be complicated.
Yeah, that's understandable. Thank you. Thank you for sharing as much as you have. Then another, if you wouldn't mind, Miareth, I just need to make a few very distracted small purchases.
Of course. Whatever aid you require, I will have a servant sent to accompany you. Do you need help picking out the things that you want in the market, Matt, or do you feel comfortable grabbing them? Out of character.
Out of character, I'm getting a collection of just mostly baubles and a gift basket for the pilgrims.
Sweet. Cool. Go ahead and write down the stuff that you're grabbing. I want to check in with Gastone and Asena to see. And you are assigned a servant from the Wood Elves who knows the local market, knows how to sweet talk the right people, can figure out exactly what it is that you need, walk over there. Remember, the elves aren't like, get your fish right here. They're all very, very, these fish are from this lake, and I procure them every single day, and it is my joy and my art and my craft to harvest this particular kind of fish. There's a lot that goes into it.
Which is exactly why he wanted to bring someone along who knows what's happening, since
Yeah.
that is not going to be in John's wheelhouse.
All right, go ahead and work on your shopping list while I check in with Gastone and Asena. Let's start with Asena. Aside from eating your breakfast, and Asena knows.
How'd you know I ate my breakfast? I'm just kidding.
It's a fair guess, right? I think it's a fair guess.
Yeah, that was like the highlight of the morning. Are you kidding? She doesn't really do much. She's just ready to get on to the next step of her adventure.
Okay. They will offer to take you to the docks if you'd like to wait for the ship to arrive.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
You are led up into the upper boughs of the city. Very, very high, hundreds of feet above the ground. And at the very tallest areas, the branches grow out and they become almost entirely bare of leaves. And you see vessels grown of living green wood with gigantic, almost transparent green leaves for wings, flying, floating above the tree line. Some of them are they are swept back almost to look like birds made of, again, green living bark. And they are huge. They're as big as sailing ships. They've got people coming in, elves coming and going, unloading cargo to and from. They've got weapons. Every single one is unique and beautiful, beautifully designed. The largest one almost looks more like a sailing ship, but again, it's out of this living green wood. And there are thin layers of leaf that grow over almost like windows in places. And the leaves that jut out from it at the fore and at the aft billow in the wind. They drink up the sunlight. These are flying ships, like flying boats, but they're not designed like any boat you've ever seen. Except some of them that come and go back and forth are clearly not made by the elves. They're much more, they've got sails, they've got holes underneath, but they just fly up and down, loading and unloading cargo to the markets of Perchance. And much like sitting at an airport, you could sit here and watch this for hours if you're so inclined.
I'll definitely watch for a while, but can she, like, when does she get on one?
Later today, your ship should be coming in any moment now.
She'll find
this evening, you will be sailing between the worlds. Trust me.
Crazy. She's gonna find a place to sit to watch all of these go back and forth, but she is fascinated and wants to just like touch them all.
You notice that the elves are very protective of their craft. Like, they put a lot of time and effort into literally growing these ships. And so they treat them very delicately, very respectfully. Every single one, it's not merely a cargo ship. It's not merely a patrol war vessel. It's a piece of art. It's alive.
That's crazy.
Gastone, you've got your atomic ray hooked up. Again, it's bulky. The power supply has to either be like your belt or your back. It's not like a huge backpack. It's more like, I don't know, like a big bulky apparatus that, again, it has to be strapped to somewhere and connected to the actual ray output by a cable until you've built a better version. You've got that built. You've got breakfast. What else do you want to spend your morning doing? You are also informed politely by an elven servitor that your ship will be arriving this afternoon. If you have need of anything, you need merely let us know.
How much? So what time? It's still the morning, right? So I have time for like a quick errand.
Yeah, you have time to run an errand.
Do I know where Medwethyn is?
You don't off the top of your head, but if you ask, you can be brought to her.
Okay, I want to do that.
Okay. You meet Medwethyn. She is in the throne room, but she is able to depart from her duties. As you approach the throne room, there's a whole bunch of courtiers coming and going, approaching. The king isn't in session yet. King Andogalad is still like doing his morning routine, but some of his like judges and courtiers are taking, okay, here's your petition. Here's the ambassador from this elven court. Here's this human who is asking us for trade deals. Like, they're handling business, right? So you're able to send this runner who goes to Medwethyn. You walk into the courtroom, see Medwethyn up there, whisper in her ear. She looks across, she sees you, she nods, and the two of you depart to a gallery off the side of the courtroom's areas that walks around a big tree trunk, kind of near the back of the royal court area, where you have some privacy, separated by curtains of willow leaves.
Wow. Shit, that's fancy.
This whole place is fancy AF. They
True.
thrive on being extra.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something like, hey, I don't know if you know we're leaving today. So I came because I still needed one more thing from you. I don't know when I'm gonna come back, but I did want some kind of lesson still on Oneiromancy. Anything you can tell me that I can practice, work on while I'm gone. Is there such a thing?
Roll persuasion check, please, Gastone. A natural 3 and an 8. She thinks for a moment on it, as if an idea is passing through her head. Roll insight, please.
Oops.
18. She is wrestling with an idea. She's trying to figure out, going back and forth, hesitating. She's trying to decide what her answer is, as if she's weighing two options. You get the impression that one of these options is the more reasonable, I don't think you're ready for that, and the other one is a little bit more risky. What do you do?
I promise I'll be careful. Just don't look in my bedroom.
She smiles, almost laughs at that. And she will reach up around her neck and unclasp one of the many gemstones that's wrapped around on a thin metal wire. It's this sort of opalescent blue, semi-transparent stone. And she will reach to put it around your neck. Here's your first lesson. In matters of the mind, distance is not an obstacle. You may await your second.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Did you have anything else that you wanted to do?
Nope. That was it.
All right. John, are you done with your shopping? Do you have a basket full of goodies? Plus 1 XP for me, plus 1 XP for me, plus 1 XP.
I'm just about done. I honestly, I'm just kind of grabbing a few things, but if you want to just charge me a handful of, I don't know if they're giving me a line of credit or if I need to try and find if I had any money here. But
the Carmichael
have it
saved our planet buff is
Okay.
is in effect here. So as long as you're not
Okay.
breaking the bank, and if you want to break the bank, you just need to talk to somebody.
no, I'm just getting like some, some fine elven spirits,
Mm-hmm.
some articles of clothing, different oils, just kind of, nice things, and then some like, fruit baskets, cheese baskets, just like some just nice gifts,
Okay.
that
Sweet.
kind of a thing.
Sweet. All right. Runners are sent to each of you, informing you that the Pilgrim's Progress is on approach. And as soon as it docks, Captain Domnica is meeting you in the Royal Throne Room. Since this whole endeavor is sponsored by the House of Fluris. So at your earliest convenience, noble guests, if you would adjourn to the throne room, King Andogalad and his court will receive you. And as they're saying that, Asena, this elf comes up and is saying all these fancy words, you look up and you see a vessel descending, surrounded by a ring of red-hot fire. It's got sails popping out of different areas, now folding themselves as it descends through the atmosphere. It's made of wood. The underside is reinforced with metal, polished with some like gold dust along the side of it as the Pilgrim's Progress makes its descent. And I will go ahead and share this with all y'all. Can everybody see? Oh, yeah, that's probably because you guys aren't even on the right area. Oh. You guys just see darkness right now? What do you have?
You
I can
see the
see it.
planet we're on.
But I
I mean,
see
yeah,
a
I see the
lot of
planets, I see the ship. Is that what we're looking for?
I just tried to
yeah, there we
drag
go.
you up to the right.
Yeah, there we go. Nice ship. It's been a hot second.
The ship descends down towards you. And even as you watch it approach, Asena, you're being called away. The royal throne room of the House of Fluris is filled right now with people of all sorts. Medwethyn is there, King Andogalad, Princess Adthea with her handmaiden Mireth, Boignus Kimzabin. You guys see Charlie in there, recently cleaned up, and Ben is lurking, towering over him as well. Boignus seems very, very eager. He's wearing his finest hat. It's the same hat, just magically enchanted to look slightly different. There's this buzz in the whole court as these folks are arriving to take you on your journey. King Indogalad has all sorts of things to share about the different nature of your quest and how you're supposed to defeat and subdue a godling. But all that will be discussed once Domnica and the pilgrims arrive. And as the ship descends and we prepare to unite everybody, we shall leave our heroes to a short break immediately after this.
Behold, an
Oh,
act-
no.
Thank you to our
Nice.
supporters on Coffee. Ooh, a plot twist.
Hmm?
Oh,
Rise of
Now-
a leader. I would like. You know what? No, we're going to resolve this when we come back from the break. This could completely change things. So, folks, don't go anywhere. Coriander Society adventures will resume. We'll be right back.